Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to 2025 and the first Wacky and Weird Wednesday of the year. That's right, it's Before Coffee, the comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where me and my dad look up the news 10 to 15 minutes before we've started without drinking any caffeine. So this is news just completely in delirium. And we're gonna gab and yap and have our opinions, and you can share yours too. So let's read out our wacky news headlines for today. Today on Before Coffee, surfing sea otter prompts warning in British Columbia, and hunter accidentally shot a pony in Lower Austria.
A sinkhole opens in New Jersey on the interstate. The world's #1 golfer accidentally puts his hand during Christmas dinner.
Hungary loses entitlement to EU aid, and Nazi collaborators in the Netherlands to be revealed as archive opened to the public.
And tragic news, 2 men found dead in Sasquatch hunt, and a really shy man cut off his fingers rather than quit his job.
In culture news, we can be weirdos too. The Black Mermaids creating their own fantasy worlds.
That's right, and it's National Hangover Day. No surprise, get that hangover treat with hangover cure ready. January 1st, 2025, RP4 Coffee.
It is the 1st of January, the first day of the year. I don't know why I'm singing that badly, but welcome everyone to the first Before Coffee of the year. Let's get into our first weird and wacky story here, which is about sea otters. Now, if anybody out there loves animals, you probably know a lot about sea otters and how they're very dangerous. They're not friendly, they're not cute. I think the common phrase is, if not friendly, why cute sized or whatever. Same thing with bears. Bears look very cute, but they will maul you to death. And that's the same thing for otters. A sea otter has been, this is on Global News Canada by Chuck Chang. A sea otter has been seen clambering onto a surfboard and following surfers off on Vancouver Island, prompting reminders from Fisheries and Ocean Canada to avoid close interaction with the mammals. Photos and videos on social media showed the otter following a group of 3 surfers off Whiffin Spit in Sauk, British Columbia, about 40 kilometers west of Victoria on Saturday. Saturday, of course, was December something. Here we go, December 28th. The otter is seen riding the swells among the surfers, clambering onto a surfboard with its rider and swimming after the group, despite their efforts to paddle away. Paul Cottrell with Fisheries and Oceans Canada's Marine Mammal Response says the surfers did the right thing to avoid contact, since wild sea otters behave unpredictably and may carry diseases and can be aggressive and bite if they feel threatened. Cottrell says there's a legal requirement to report any accidental interaction with wild sea animals to ensure safety for all involved. Photographer Doug Clement says the otter lingered around the surfers for more than an hour before leaving. I thought it was a real seal at first, Clement said. The surfers you can see were like, "Get away from us! Don't come near us!" You can see they're trying to get away from it. He kept swimming towards them, and then when they'd stop, he'd sort of sit there about a foot or two away from them and float on his back and just stare at them. Then, when they started to move, he'd start to move too, getting stalked by a sea otter. The situation is rare but not unique. A sea otter in California became notorious for chasing surfers and hijacking their boards off Santa Cruz in 2023. The sea is finally fighting back after we put billions of plastic in it. It's like, you know what? You guys suck. Get this plastic out of here. Though I think surfboards are made out of fiberglass. Cottrell said Fisheries and Ocean Canada would monitor the situation in Sauk and could consider relocating the animal if negative interactions were reported. This is not common behavior for a sea otter, Cottrell said, noting that it may be the same animal that was reported trying to interact with paddle boaters in the same area in the fall. If it's the same sea otter, which we believe it is, we'll keep our eye out. And we'll keep signage up just to notify people in the area to be aware and to avoid those interactions as much as they can. Clement said the animal had have been staying close to surfboards to escape the nearby predators, such as sea lions. I've seen that with seals before, where they jump on boats to get rid of killer whales. So that's my first thought. Maybe he was trying to seek refuge on the board because he kept trying to climb on. Another recent encounter with sea mammals on Vancouver Island, a sea lion lumbered onto Highway 4 from Kennedy Lake, disrupting traffic before it was herded back to the lake by police and Parks Canada warden. In that case, Cottrell said everything was done correctly, with the authorities immediately notified to prevent vehicles from running into the sea lion and causing injuries on either end. So, the wacky sea animals being wacky, and luckily nobody was hurt. In more disappointing news, we're talking about some hunters or a hunter, I should say, who doesn't know how to actually hunt properly. This is in Schwertfingen. A hunter accidentally shot a pony during a night hunt. He may have confused the animal with a wild boar. This was actually from December 30th, but I'm talking about it now because that's when I saw it. Coming out of Nugelenbach, a hunter is said to have accidentally shot a pony in Nugelenbach, St. Polten district. According to a statement, the man had mistaken the animal for a wild boar because he's not a very good hunter. Usually you look for tracks, listen for calls, maybe use binoculars. Oh, movement in a bush! Get him! This happened last Thursday evening, so almost a week ago. The police confirmed in response to media reports. Used a night vision device, the hunting association said. The wounded pony had to be put down, and the man was given a temporary weapons ban, as the NON first reported. The incident occurred in the village of Schwartfingen, according to Lower Austrian Hunting Association. Aiming aid is permitted for hunting wild boar, and the man met the requirements. A complaint has been filed, and a report will be sent to the public prosecutor's office, said police spokesperson Raimund Schwarkenlehner. The prosecution will then decide whether a criminal offense has been committed. Well, somebody's pony was killed needlessly, so I would consider that a crime. The pony was in the middle, and I've got some comments here which I think share some point of view that I have, which is something like along the lines of, the pony was in the middle of the forest, or how else can you explain this? Or did he shoot a fenced-in pony pasture? This time it's a pony, but there have been people who have confused hunters with wild animals and started shooting. I wonder, don't they have binoculars with them? Don't they think they look at what they're shooting at? It's not normally possible to mistake a person for a wild boar or a pony. I often get the impression that there is rustling in the bushes and then someone just shoots at it. It is difficult to explain otherwise what hunters often confuse, and all the incidents have already occurred. Hunters confuse horses with wild boars. Hunters confuse ponies with wild boars. Hunters shoot sheepdogs because they thought it was a fox. Hunters shoot calving cows because they thought it was a boar. And my personal favorite, a Spanish hunter confuses mountain bikers with hares. Ah yes, the biggest hare ever seen in Spain on a bike. Yeah. But did you want to share something as somebody who hunts yourself?
Not really. I mean, it used to be a thing you had to take.
Yeah.
And number one is treat every gun like it's loaded. And number two is never point your gun at anything you're not going to shoot.
Yeah. That's normal gun safety.
Be sure of your target. Be sure of what you're shooting. Number one. Is that a bear or a person? I don't know. Let me blast away and find out.
Why do you say, hey, are you a person? And if they don't answer, then you can shoot them.
They say, no, I'm a bear. Then you can blast.
Then you have other problems. Who taught this bear to speak?
Uh-huh.
Your story.
Take it to the... Oh, my story.
Yeah.
Okay, we're taking off my glasses. We'll see. We're bleary-eyed, but maybe. We'll see. The first story we got is a sinkhole in New Jersey. On the interstate. That's right, on the highway. Road crews.
Life is a highway.
I'm going to need my glasses and get shadiness in my eyes. Screen. Sorry, everybody. Road crews were repairing a short stretch of Interstate 80 in northern New Jersey on Friday, where a sinkhole forced eastbound lanes to shut down, but it was still unknown when they will reopen. The highway's guardrails still held suspended in the air across the gaping 40-foot wide hole. 40-foot wide is no small hole, which opened up when an abandoned mine collapsed into the highway's right shoulder Thursday morning.
no.
The New Jersey Department of Transportation. The sinkhole has forced orders to take a short detour near Wharton, which is about 40 miles west of New York City. Crews have stabilized the area and started today. They will work around the clock to repair the roadway. The highway department said Friday. The timing of when the eastbound lanes will open. Well, okay. This is not me reading it poorly. It's a poor sentence. I'll read this sentence and tell you the next. The timing of when the eastbound lanes will upon, I think they mean open. Okay, anyway. The timing of when the eastbound lanes will open depends on how extensive the repairs will be in upcoming weather. The department said drivers should not continue to expect delays. Drivers should continue to expect delays.
He's in a car.
Routes. Okay, this
on his phone. I can't fix his audio.
What's wrong? My audio's screwed up again?
No, you just sound like you're in the ocean. It's because you're facing not towards the phone, so it just can't hear you very well.
I moved it a different way.
No, you're in that car.
Oh.
It's nothing you can possibly do unless you plug a microphone into your phone.
Probably better to hear it like this. Oh?
I mean, if you directly have the phone under your mouth, yeah, it's perfect. But like, yeah, we can't see you, can we? So.
We'll be doing this. This is the last time. All right. Sorry you don't hear me. I don't know. I hear myself twice.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's your story in the Sinkhole, New Jersey. They're reroading, and little less lighthearted. Scotty Scheffler, the world's #1 golfer, cuts his hand. Why did he do that? Let's find out. The world's best golfer has suffered a freak injury while cooking Christmas dinner, forcing him to undergo surgery. Scotty Scheffler sustained a puncture wound after cutting the palm of his hand, right hand, in a broken glass. The world #1 required surgery. A small glass fragments remained in the palm after the accident. The injury has forced him out of the first tournament of the season, next week's The Century in Hawaii. Let's screw up the swing. But the 28-year-old has been told he will recover in 3 to 4 weeks, but hopes to be back in action in the American Express Tournament in California on 16 January. That's only a couple weeks from now, so we'll see. Scheffler won an Olympic gold in 7 PGA Tour titles in the last year. It was recently named PGA Tour's Player of the Year for a 3rd season in a row. In May, he was arrested by police during the U.S. PGA Championship after he was accused of trying to drive around the traffic jam caused by a fatal accident. That made news for a little while. He was like, "What? I'm getting arrested? I'm the boss. I didn't do anything." Just hours later, he was returned to the Hall of Golf Club in Kentucky. Criminal charges were later dismissed due to lack of evidence, and the police officer arrested him, was disciplined for not having his body cam. He was just looking to bust some head. Anyway, there's your stories on Sinkhole in New Jersey and bleeding hands in golf.
Terrible.
Back to you.
Terrible, yet still wacky. Yet another. This isn't the first time we've done a story actually on a mine collapsing and then revealing a giant sinkhole. I don't understand why. I guess it's more expensive to fill them in or whatever, right? They could fill them in with concrete or they could do something, but they just leave them there. They just leave them there to get full of water and then sinkhole in an entire town in some cases. I think that's what happened last year. There was like a whole town who just sank into a mine because there's a bunch of like mines under the whole town.
One of our ancestors actually owned an iron mine out there in New Jersey.
Really? Okay.
The Beach family owned a mine out there, an iron mine that, of course, lost money after a while because it got easier to find iron every place else. But anyway, there's your story. Maybe it was their mine.
Maybe.
I went back from the 1700s, man. They go back
it's a long time
way.
ago.
Right?
Well,
That's it.
From wacky, I guess wacky random news to politically wacky news, Hungary is losing its entitlement to EU aid. Yes, the only reason that Hungary is even in the EU is for this EU aid. They're one of the, I think they're the second most taker of aid in the EU. They take more than they give, I should say. Poland is the number one, but at least Poland agrees with EU policy, unlike Orban, who doesn't. So, by the end of 2024, the country will have to implement the Commission's conditions imposed for violations of the principles of the rule of law. Basically saying, Hungary keeps on going against what the EU stands for, so this is their punishment. If they want to get their EU aid, they either have to agree with what the union they joined. It's a union they're in, okay? Or they need to leave and not get any aid, ever, from the EU. This has not happened, and now around 1 billion euros will not be paid out. Hungary has lost its claim to... Oh, this is on Swede Deutsch. Written by nobody, as far as I can see. Hungary has lost its claim to EU aid amounting to around 1 billion euros due to violations of the rule of law. In order to release the money, the country would have to implement reform requirements by the end of 2024. As a spokeswoman for the European Commission confirmed to the German press agency. The forfeited funds are 1.04 billion euros that were earmarked for Hungary from programs to support structurally weak areas. The grants were frozen at the end of 2022 when the EU Commission concluded that Hungary was violating various EU standards and fundamental values, like, for example, abortion rights, gay rights, religious freedoms, stuff like that. Just completely going against what the EU stands for. In order to release the funds, Hungary would have had to, among other things, change laws to combat corruption and avoid conflicts of interest by the end of the year. But that has not happened. The leadership in Budapest reacted with incomprehension to the loss of funds. I didn't know you actually were gonna do it, they thought to themselves, I'm sure. The Hungarian government has fulfilled all the conditions for accessing EU resources. Yeah, women can't have abortions freely, but hey, we are totally right for the EU, wrote European Affairs Minister Janos Boka on the Facebook page. Brussels wants to take away the funds that are due to Hungary and the Hungarian people for political reasons. Indeed, they're a political entity. You're correct. Okay, I don't see the problem here. It is exactly what's happening. Yes, you're correct. In order to fill the financing gaps, Hungary's right-wing populist Prime Minister Viktor Orban recently turned to China, among others. In April 2024, Hungary called on a 3-year loan of 1 billion euros that the country took out from Chinese state banks. So now they're not only Russian puppets, but also Chinese puppets. This was done discreetly and only became known in July. Despite the Chinese financial aid, Orban continues to try to release frozen EU funds. According to the EU Commission, a total of around 19 billion euros are currently blocked, including additional subsidies and corona aid. At the beginning of December, Orban threatened to veto the EU's next 7-year budget if Brussels did not release the subsidies for his country. Negotiations on the budget are expected to begin in mid-2025. At the EU summit mid-December, Orban then refused to agree to an extension of the Russia sanctions, which expire at the end of January. Diplomats also interpreted this as an attempt to blackmail concessions from EU partners. Orban, by the way, has been, I believe, president or prime minister, whatever he is, leading politician of Hungary for 15 years. Yeah, 1998 prime minister, 1998 to 2002, and then 2010 to present. So he's currently been prime minister for more than 15 years. My math is, no. Yeah, because he was also president from 1998 to 2002, or prime minister, sorry. Whatever, same meaning. This guy keeps getting voted in, and I think the only thing you really can do at this point for the people of Hungary that need this aid is to show them that they don't want this guy to be the leader of their country because he just keeps on putting them in a bad position politically in the EU. So I don't know when the next election is, or maybe the election just happened, or maybe they can just go all French on the guy and string him up on a guillotine, but Orban as their leader, as a citizen of Hungary, is not going to work out if you want to be an actual member of the EU, because he doesn't even like the EU. He wants to become part of the Russian Federation, as far as I'm concerned. A year ago in December 2023, the Commission released part of the frozen funding, which provoked some fierce criticism in the European Parliament. Members of the Parliament accused the Commission President Ursula von der Leyen of allowing herself to be blackmailed by Orban. At the time, the Hungarian head of government wanted to block the start of EU accession negotiations with Ukraine and a €1 billion EU package for the country attacked by Russia. Irrespective of the dispute over the principles of the rule of law, Hungary handed over the EU Council presidency, which rotates every 6 months, to Poland at the turn of the year. Government representatives from the country will thus take over the leadership of numerous ministerial meetings until the end of June and mediate in disagreements between EU states. The main aim is to ensure that the EU legislative process runs as smoothly as possible. The hope in Brussels is that the Polish government will not exploit its prominent role for its own ends in the same way as Hungary. Well, they shouldn't, because Hungary doesn't have the same problems or Poland doesn't have the same problems as Hungary. They don't have a leader who's been in power for more than 15 years that just keeps on giving blowjobs to Putin. I don't know what else to say. As far as I know, the Polish will never side with Russia unless, they could get some demagogue who loves Russia. But Poland itself hates Russia. They would never yeah, let's go back to Russia. If that happens, the world's over, okay? Because Poland has never liked Russia. Even when they were in the Soviet Union, they had the most revolts and all sorts of protests while they were a satellite state. So, anyways, the Hungarian Prime Minister Orban traveled to Moscow and Beijing without prior agreement, thereby arousing considerable displeasure in most other EU states. Poland is not expected to do such solo diplomatic steps, not least because Prime Minister Donald Tusk knows the EU's machinery better than many others. Tusk held the post of full-time president of the EU Council from 2014 to 2019. In this role, headed the body of heads of state and government of the 27 EU states. So somebody who actually likes the EU is in power in Poland, and that's why you don't have to worry about Poland. Hungary, on the other hand, I can't trust anybody who's been the leader of a country for 15 years. I don't care if it's a president of the United States. I don't know. Well, it's not possible in the United States, because if it was happening in the United States, that's probably why I don't trust it, right? Because I'm used to 8-year term limits for any person who's an American to be president. They can't serve longer than 8 years. So for me, 10 years I can give them, okay, someone be president for 10 years, that's fine. 2 extra years, not too bad. But 15 plus years, something's going on. I don't like it.
The argument for term limits for Congress is made by the lady who's in a nursing home who keeps getting reelected. You're in a nursing home.
Yeah.
In an actual, and she's in Congress. Okay. She's really doing the job back there.
That's a bit weird, yeah.
Right.
In a little tidbit talking about collaborators with unsavory characters like Putin, we have an archive opening in the Netherlands to reveal 100,000. Sorry, not 100,000. That's wrong. I'm quoting that wrong. It's revealing Nazi collaborators that occurred during World War II. Over 100,000 Dutch Jews were murdered by Nazis during the Holocaust with the help of Dutch royal institutions, anti-Semitic police, and collaborators. Public review raises concerns for family of those who were complicit. If you're gonna go beat up a guy whose grandfather helped kill Jews, I don't know. You need to get some mental help. I'm obviously didn't say, hey, grandpa, go kill the Jews for me. I wasn't there. I was a child, maybe even. This is from Yaniv Navot on Ynet News. Royal Dutch Archive will grant access to its files in the coming days, 80 years after the Holocaust, so anybody who was a collaborator is long gone. This is probably just more for revealing the truth, because don't sweep things under the rug. It's not good for your country to do such things. It is expected to shed light on the identity of hundreds of thousands of Dutch citizens who cooperated with the Nazis, among other crimes that led to capture of Jews. The decision is open to the archive to the public, has evoked mixed emotions. On the one hand, there is a recognition of the need for transparency and responsibility. Yes, Dutch people did help kill people, institutionalized genocide, and you need to deal with that on your own personal level. But on the other hand, there is a concern for privacy of the families of those implicated. Tomorrow, the Central Archive of the Special Courts, January 2nd, established by the Netherlands to bring Nazi collaborators to justice, will open. According to the archive's regulation, the information until now has been accessible only to researchers, people involved in their descendants. Dutch families will now be able to learn about the history of their members during the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands. Some 425,000 Dutch citizens were accused of collaborating with Nazis during the war. That's more than 4 people per Jew killed in the Netherlands. Or I guess that's crazy. There's not even that many people. Well, I guess maybe some people were saved. In the first 3 months of 2025, researchers and family members will have digital access to a quarter of the information contained in the archive through the website and the National Archive in The Hague. The authorities in the Netherlands have assumed responsibility for the years of occupation, including the crimes committed against Jewish citizens and collaboration with Nazi occupiers. More than 70% of the Jewish population were murdered by Nazis, with the help of anti-Semitic authorities, the police, and parts of the population. The country has been undergoing an extensive and deep process of review of its dark past, which includes the public apology by King William Alexander for the treatment of Jews, the opening of the National Holocaust Museum in Amsterdam, and the financing of historical research into the collaboration of Dutch royal institutions and companies with the Nazis. Wow, don't support them, they helped the Nazis. I think that's a good information to know. Because I think if you have a history of having no backbone as a company, I don't trust you in the current day. Oh, I mean, it's Nazis yesterday and then it's Putin tomorrow or something. And that's definitely happening. There's a lot of oligarchs that are still using their, loopholes to get stuff to Russia when we're supposed to be having very stringent restrictions on anything coming in or out of Russia because of the Ukraine conflict. So, can't trust them. That's my story. On to yours.
Okay, well, after that, we go back to the tragedy of human stupidity.
Yeah, because we're weird and wacky out there.
This is from NPR.org. Chandelis Duster, the name of the person who wrote this article. 2 men from Oregon went missing after going on a search for Bigfoot. Yeah, they've been found dead. Washington state officials announced Saturday the 2 men, both from Portland, were reported missing by a family member on Christmas Day and were set to return from searching for the legendary creature in eastern Skamania County on Christmas Eve, according to the county sheriff's office. The search was launched and a vehicle associated with 2 men was found up the road near Willard, Washington. After a 3-day search involving more than 60 people, the bodies of both men, 37 and 59 years old, were found in Gifford-Pinchot National Forest, located in the southwestern part of Washington state, in a heavily wooded area, according to the Skamania County Sheriff's Office. The cause of death appears to be because of exposure based on weather conditions and ill preparedness, the office says. The area has faced rounds of snow and rain with temperatures in the 30s across the Cascades in the days leading up to the men being reported missing. The search for the men also took place in difficult terrain and harsh weather conditions as crews face conditions such as freezing temperatures, snow, and high water levels, the office said. Sasquatch, commonly known as Bigfoot, is a large, hairy figure that resembles a human and is thought to live in the northwestern part of the U.S. and Canada. The existence of Bigfoot has been debated for decades as any of the reported sightings of the creature. More than 70 reports of Bigfoot sightings in Washington state have been submitted to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, the group says. In Skamania County, harming Bigfoot is punishable by a $1,000 fine and can include jail time, according to the County Chamber of Commerce. It is all meant to protect the mysterious creature and prevent hunters with large beard from accidentally getting shot.
Yeah.
At least you're not getting mistaken for a pony. So yeah, Bigfoot. If there is such thing as a Bigfoot, how come we haven't found a skeleton of one? They have buried burials. Maybe that's why. It's very weird.
There's this thing, you see, there's a thing called Bigfoot, and then there's this thing called the Bigfoot Eater, and it eats its bones, you see. And
right.
The Bigfoot Eater is actually a ghost, so it doesn't have bones, so you won't find the bones of that either. And that explains it all. You're welcome.
By the way, I sent you a video.
All right.
And on to my second story on the weirdness section. Section 2 of my segment. This is from odditycentral.com, and the author is called Spooky. That's the name. Spooky. A 32-year-old Indian man admitted to cutting off 4 fingers on his left hand to avoid having to continue working as a computer operator at a relative company.
Wow, he was desperate, huh?
Yes, I guess. Learning to say no sounds easy, but some people it can be harder than crippling themselves for life. Case in point, a Gujarat man who staged an accident that left him missing 4 fingers on his left hand to avoid having to tell his boss that he wanted to quit his job. Earlier this month, Mayur Parapara showed up at the police station in his native city of Surat to report that 4 fingers, they typed fingers ain't a word as far as I can, that 4 fingers were missing from his hand. He claimed to have been riding his motorcycle to a friend's house when he suddenly felt dizzy and passed out at the side of the road. When he woke 10 minutes later, 4 fingers on his left hand had been chopped off. Police initially believed the man's fingers had been stolen for black magic rituals, but their investigation found huge holes in Mayur's story. The bizarre case was registered at the Amroli police station in Surat before being transferred to the city's crime branch. Investigators started checking CCTV footage of the area where the victim had passed out, as well as an investigative eyewitnesses, but virtually nothing checked out. Mayor appeared to park his bike near a ring road before casually walking away and returning with an injured left hand. Plus, no one had seen him pass out by the side of the road. Pressed by police, the man admitted to cutting the fingers off himself. Tarapara confessed that he had bought a sharp knife for the shop near Rasta in Singapore, police official told the Hindu. 4 days later, on Sunday night, he went to Amroli Ring Road and parked his motorcycle there. Around 10 p.m. He cut off 4 fingers with a knife and tied a rope near the elbow to prevent blood flow. He then put the knife and fingers in a bag and threw it away. Mayur Tarapara reluctantly told the investigators that he resorted to maiming himself because he didn't want to work at his relative's diamond company anymore. Nope, he didn't want to tell them, though, that missing 4 fingers made him fit for the job. That's right. I hate you and I hate working for you, but I can't tell you I'd rather cut off my fingers. Whatever. Police managed to find a bag with 3 of the man's fingers, but they are still trying to get more information from him to piece this bizarre story together. He admitted that he didn't want to work at the diamond factory and had planned to chop off his 4 fingers so he did not have to work in the diamond factory. A crime inspector said, "We have tried to dig out more information from him. I don't want to hear anything more from you." You are insane if you do this. You have seriously lost your marbles. Any part of your body for any reason. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're that indecisive that you can't say no, you just have to do something that forces you to make a decision, like cutting off your fingers. Okay, let's go to a culturally weird story, I guess. The culture of Black Mermaids. That's right. And I'm only calling them weirdos because that's the quote on the article, okay? I don't think it's weird to be a mermaid because I guess I'm also a weirdo who wants to be a mermaid. Mermaiding has gained popularity in the US, and Black Mermaids are using the activity to advocate for aquatic safety, raise environmental awareness, and connect to African spirituality. This is by Melissa Hellman on The Guardian. Dressed in a purple and turquoise seashell bra and an iridescent green tail, the professional mermaid Carrie Wata swam through a hula hoop that a group of children held underwater in a pool at a birthday party outside of Atlanta, Georgia. The birthday girl was astonished to see that Weta was a black mermaid. just like the newer Disney films. "You look like me," Wata recalled the girl saying. Her mother had previously told Wata that the child was insecure about her hair and brown skin tone. But throughout the party, Wata said that she saw the child become more self-assured as she mimicked Wata's moves, swimming through the hula hoop and flipping her tail underwater as well. At that point, she knew she was a mermaid because she saw a mermaid that looks like her, Wata said. She was 100% confident that she could be a mermaid too. Professional mermaiding, an occupation that began more than a century ago with the likes of Australian swimmer Annette Kellerman, has gained traction in the recent years, capturing the imagination of children and adults at birthday parties and company events, as shown in the 2023 Netflix documentary Mer People. While there are no official records on the number of professional mermaids in the industry, Fast Company estimated there were about 1,000 in the US in 2015. Wata, whose real name is Melanie Carey Schneider, is part of a new wave of Black Mermaids who have taken up the activity as a hobby or profession. They are seeking to diversify a largely white industry, with some Black mermaids also using mermaiding to advocate for aquatic safety in the Black community. Due to the advent of communities such as the Society of Fat Mermaids and the Afro Mermaid Summit, an annual 4-day convention, it's now become more commonplace to see Black mer people in the US. For Black people to now be able to play around with fantasy and dress up and be free, we can be weirdos too, Wata says. The fantasy world and Comic-Con and dressing up has almost been a space only for white people. And when a Black person wants to do it, it's like, what are you doing? I believe what they say is, that's corny. That's what Black people say to shame each other. Wow, that's really corny. Alright, we're finally coming to an age where we can really express ourselves in the most genuine way and be our authentic selves. It's been a while since the Black nerd stereotype has been out, but people are still surprised about it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Everyone's allowed to be a nerd. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. Well, some Black mermaids say they have faced discrimination in the industry from customers who do not want to book them. They find security and support in virtual and in-person communities. At the annual Afro Mermaid Summit, which Wata started in 2021, participants discuss ocean conservation and learn about the history of Black mermaids and African cosmologies. Ooh, that's cool! A sacred water ceremony in which participants give thanks to the water incorporates African drummers, and there's also a dance competition and a fashion event. The summit has grown to 10% every year. So it started out as 100, and then they got 1,000, and then they got... That's not correct. Or is that correct? Anyways, with about 100 guests attending in 2024 also, they started out at 10 people. Okay, I see what this is. 10 people came to my Afro Mermaid Summit, and now it's 100 in 2024. That's still an improvement. I'm not expecting there to be like a whole community, like a whole, I don't know, city worth of Black mermaids out there. I don't think there's a whole city worth of white mermaids. The Black culture is very heavy in this event, Wata said. It feels like a family reunion or like a family barbecue. The Society of Fat Mermaids, founded by mermaid Chet Monique, has a Facebook group of 2,500 members where people post photos of themselves in tails or swimming for the first time. People just cheer you on and support you, Monique said on the online community. A viral photo helped launch the burlesque dancer's career as a professional mermaid in 2019. In the picture, Monique wears a multicolored tail and a sequined seashell bikini top while laying on a bed of snow. Her tail raised towards the sky as if in mid-flip. The image was shared more than 1,000 times. You've got to give the people what they want, Monique said, and apparently they wanted me. While some users flocked to the comments section to criticize her because she's fat, like she doesn't know. I love when people go and say, hey, you're fat! Yes, I noticed. Thank you. Thank you for the notification. I don't look at the mirror or have,
People going for themselves.
Yeah.
You gotta criticize them.
Yeah, 100%. The Alexandria, Virginia-based entrepreneur now performs underwater events with group Circus Siren Pod and also teaches people how to perform underwater with a mermaid tail. Following the George Floyd murder in 2020, Monique started the Instagram hashtag Merfolk for Black Lives, where she posts videos, for instance, about the higher instances of drowning among Black people compared with the general population due to a historical lack of access to swimming pools. Her company sells t-shirts with images of plus-size Black mermaids, with one bearing the words, Fat mermaids make waves. Since Monique created her society, she said that most of the major tail makers, including ones that she's consulted with, have expanded their sizes. As in the people who make the tails for the mermaids, they've increased the size of the tails. They're the tail makers. Let's see. I'm just trying to skip through this article because it is quite long. While mermaids are usually depicted as white women in Western media, it's little known that the U.S. African storytellers has long featured black people in the water with supernatural abilities, though they weren't always thought of as mermaids. Davis, a assistant professor at the University of California, Riverside, has said, sometimes it's a border between the material and the spiritual world, such as in the Congo concept of the Kalunga, a watery threshold between worlds. It has always been believed that people who go into the water possibly have another life there. Davis's scholarship looks at the recurring idea in Black literature, poetry, and art that captured Africans who went overboard during the transatlantic slave trade became mermaids. Isn't that a romantic idea? Or aquatic creatures, a concept that she calls crossing merfolk. In the 1990s, for instance, Drexia, a black electronic duo from Detroit, created an Afrofuturist tale of a nautical empire formed by the offspring of pregnant black women who were thrown off slave ships in the sleeve notes of their 1997 album, The Quest. The babies, known as Drexians, learned how to breathe underwater and swam from their mothers' wombs. Looking to the future, some amateurs and professionals say that the lore, platforms, and fantasies about black mermaids can serve as vehicles for a larger discussion about climate crisis and systematic oppression. Black mermaid stories in African cosmologies, which often feature black deities evoking storms to disrupt slave ships, for instance, can help show the connection between the exploitation of people and the environmental degradation, Davis said. The plantation economy of slavery launches this level of extracting resources from the planet. And having a workforce that can continue to exploit through their racial systems that were created allows you to keep destroying the earth. Modern stories about black mermaids can also spark conversations about how the exploitation of marginalized communities fuels industry, which in turn increases pollution. For instance, the Jewel Parker Rhodes book Bayou Magic, the African deity depicted as a mermaid, Mami Wata, helps a young girl protect her Gulf Coast community from an oil spill. Mermaiding has also inspired enthusiasts to broaden other aspects of their lives. For Clover Jean Mermaid, whose Mersona is a vampire fairy mermaid, her origin story entails her being born in Seychelles, East Africa, 140 years ago. Jean only goes by her business name for safety purposes. At the 2024 Afro Mermaid Summit, Jean taught a class with Wata on how mermaids can form their own unique backstories. World building has inspired her to want to visit the nation that she has no connection to in her life as a medical massager in Dallas, Texas. In the future, Wata plans to host another Afro Mermaid Summit event during the summer, and she would like to build an international troupe of black mermaids. It's nice to be in an era where I can show the new generation a black mermaid, Wata said, and I feel like I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. The story of the black mermaids saving slave ships reminds me a lot of the native idea that the native spirits, if you do I think we talked about this a couple months back, doing the dance, doing the ancestors dance. It was a whole movement, I think back in the 90s, that actually got it legalized by the American government because it was scaring them. The white people were being scared because a lot of the natives just started doing a spiritual dance to summon the ancestor to take back their land from the white invader. And it was so scary that white people made it illegal. So hopefully that doesn't happen here. I think we're living in a different time now. They're not going to legalize black mermaids.
Wounded Knee.
Yeah.
That's what happened at Wounded Knee. They were doing the ghost dances. And it was
the ghost dance.
The white soldiers, oh my God, there's women and children dancing, let's kill them.
Yeah, terrible. So, but that's what oppression does to you. It gives you this kind of desperation, and you start doing whatever you can to try to, maybe, there's some sort of fantasy world where the ancestors will just kill all the invaders, and then we'll go back to how life was before. If only the world was that just. Anyways, on to this day in history.
Yeah, like sidetracked there a little bit. This day in history, 1449, as try to get my head read it at the same time. 1449, Florentine statesman, ruler, and patron saint of letters Lorenzo di Medici, born in 1449. Nice to know. 1735, Paul Revere was born. Paul Revere, the horseback riding folk hero of the American Revolution, who said the British are coming. And that famous poem. 1804, Haiti declared its independence from France, and they still haven't figured that shit out.
The first successful slave revolt, though, so give them credit for that. They killed all the slave owners and sent them packing. This is our island now, asshole. We're like 20 times more than you.
Yeah, in 1808, the United States made the slave trade illegal as the act prohibiting importation of slaves went into effect. Slavery, however, continued in the country. Of course it did. Because making it illegal didn't solve a damn thing. 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation. More slavery-related stuff. The Emancipation Proclamation was issued by U.S. President Abraham Lincoln, which freed enslaved people in the Confederacy, the state in rebellion against the Union. Did not free the slaves in anywhere else, like Maryland, for instance, or Kentucky. Only the ones that were in active war against the United States. 1895, U.S. government official J. Edgar Hoover was born. J. Edgar Hoover, a director of the FBI, built the agency into a highly effective application and controversial arm of the federal law enforcement. He led them from 1924 to 1972. And so happy birthday to J. Edgar Hoover. If that is his real birthday, I think he made it up just for the FBI. Frankly. You see the movie. See the movie about J. Edgar Hoover starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Very good. 1902, the first college football bowl game was held at the University of Michigan defeated Stanford in what became known as the Rose Bowl. However, the game did not become an annual event until 1916. 1909, Barry Goldwater was born. Barry Goldwater was a U.S. Senator from Arizona and Republican presidential candidate in 1964. He got destroyed in that election by Republican. 1919, American author J.D. Salinger was born. His only novel, The Catcher in the Rye, won wide acclaim and wide critical acclaim. Of course, was in the pocket of Mark David Chapman when he shot John Lennon. It's like, oh my God, the book did it. No, the guy with the gun did it. In 1953, on this day, Hank Williams Sr. died in the backseat of a car. And in an auspicious way to die. He was horribly addicted to alcohol and drugs and really bad, very bad pains. He lived in constant pain. And his driver did not know if he was dead. He was driving him around and, oh shit, he's dead. Anyway, 1959 in this day, dictator Fulgencio Batista led Cuba after his regime was toppled by rebel forces led by Fidel Castro. 1994 in this day, the North American Free Trade Agreement went into effect, eliminating most tariffs on other trade barriers and products and services to the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And free trade's about to end because a moron is taking charge of the United States and put tariffs in everything. All prices go up. And watch everybody retaliate against us and watch our economy get destroyed from within. Because Trump was for Russia and he didn't care what happens in the country. So 1995, the World Trade Organization was formally established. The World Trade Organization established in 1995. 2011, the Oprah Winfrey Network debuted on television, OWN. That came on the air 14 years ago. Our featured event, the Euro was introduced on this day in the 2002, 23 years ago. On this day, the Euro, the monetary unit of the European Union, was introduced with the issuance of both currency and coins. And by March 2002, it was the sole legal tender of participating member states. Our feature biography is Alfred Steinfeld Blitz, American photographer born January 1st, 1864 in Hoboken, New Jersey, born in Sinkhole, and died July 13th, 1946 in New York City. Other birthdays today. We covered all of these. All of these.
Nice.
Paul Revere, J. Hoover, David Ballwater, J.D. Salinger, Christy Lagarde, French lawyer and politician, born in 1956. And what day is it today? Besides being the first day of the year, New Year's Day, it's National Hangover Day and National Bloody Mary Day, which a lot of people drink Bloody Marys as a cure for a hangover, which is hair of the dog that bit you. Stay drunk and you'll never have a hangover. Ah.
Hell yeah.
So those are two things today, Bloody Marys and hangover. January 1st, 2025. The first day I get to say 2025. And January 1st, 2025. More Bloody Marys.
All right, this has been Allison here from the Netherlands, Raj from somewhere at a truck stop in the West Coast somewhere.
Idaho, man.
He's in potato land, and we will see you tomorrow for Thursdays 13, where we think up a list of 13 things, and we tell you all about them. And usually it's quite interesting. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and comment down below if you had a good New Year's, and if you didn't have a good New Year's, what comfy New Year's did you have? Did you go to sleep at 8 p.m. and wake up to your cuddling with your pugs? Whatever you did, let us know, and we'll hopefully have a good New Year, and we'll see you next time. Here is our New Year's mic drop moment. The biggest stars of 10 years ago.
Right, damn it.
This is a 10-year video I saw. But it's still worth it. Oh. Oh, not a cat playing the drums.
Oh yeah, Vernon Thrasher.
Thrasher cat.
Happy New Year.
Start headbanging. Not Garfield, dude. Yeah, peace in the world. And keep rocking out.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons. And follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.